Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, do you want to create the ultimate floating IKEA Besta setup with glass doors and LED lighting? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it step by step so you can achieve this clean, modern and functional design in your home for your collectibles. As you can see behind me, now we're using the IKEA Besta units with Glassvik glass doors spanning 4.2 meters long and 1.92 meters high, and installing Govee M1 LED strips for stunning lighting effect. The best part, it's floating, no bulky legs or clutter. So if you're ready to take your space to the next level, let's get started. And I'm going to walk through the setup and the measurements first, just so we get that sorted. I've gone to the IKEA website. This should be your first starting position. Design your Besta. So if you type that into the help, it'll take you to this page. And what we're going to do is create a new design from scratch. Create new. So this is my room. It's pretty much just a box. And you can go and customize room and set up the dimensions that you require. I think 2.6, let's go 300 high. So it's 3 meters high by 5 meters wide. That's great. And I just want to show you exactly how do we go from here to the final product and what it looks like, which is why this is visualization tool is really, really useful. Now I've gone black brown on my cabinet, so I'm just going to use it true to source and just stick it a little bit higher than the ground. And I think as we start clicking, don't go on the top, it's too many. Boom, boom. Oh, more. Need more of these. More, boom. And now for my room, I'm going with a few more of these just on this side. And we can duplicate that by just clicking. It's gone up again. And there you go. Now I'm going to move them over a little bit because I just don't like the symmetry. And then we've got 21 cabinets for awesome collectibles, which is fantastic. And this is pretty much it. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to add the doors. You don't have to add the doors. You can just leave them like that as well. But just for dust and things, it's always a good idea to dust proof as much as you can. So let's just click that one. Oh, how's that? It's worked straight away. Wow, look at that cost. Wow, 31. And it's reflections already, which is why you need the LEDs in there, because it just cuts, when you get the lights on, obviously it just cuts down the reflections. But this is pretty much it, guys, in terms of the project. And what you could do also, you could just replicate, depending on your space, obviously. And what you can do is you can just set up units that are 600 wide, and you can set up units that are, 1200 or whatever dimension fits your room. Now, the only advice I'll give is if you're going to go 1200 on so side by side, just make sure you get the bigger unit like this one. Don't do the mistake that I did and get two individual ones. It's just harder to install. So yeah. So we'll just delete that. And that's pretty much the setup we're going after. And I think we're going to achieve it, guys. So if I finalize that, it goes through and itemizes everything I need. If you can get these delivered to your house, even better. Even better. So we've got soft closing, push open hinges, 21 of those. Besta suspension rail, 21. What? Geez, that's going to be tough to put those up. And then Besta units and the Glassvik glass doors as well. So that's the total cost. Listen, it turns out really great, and it's just an awesome inclusion to any room. Even if you've just got, a 1200 one, 3 stacked up high, it just looks fantastic. In this room that I've got behind me, I'm just missing this last one. So it's only 6 in here, but it just looks fantastic as well. So the more cabinets you've got, the more options you've got for displaying. Before we start, let's talk about the setup. This unit spans 4.2 meters across and 1.92 meters in height, with a total of 21 compartments for display awesomeness. The key to achieving the floating look is properly securing it to the wall using the suspension rails. And here's a breakdown of the setup. Okay, guys, the first picture I'm going to put up is of the suspension rail that sits behind the Besta unit. So the one we're installing today, and I'm going to talk in metrics, is a 1.2 meter double bay Besta unit floating design. And in order to get it floating, obviously we need a suspension rail up on the wall. And now this suspension rail is approximately 1,136 mils long. So it sits inside the Besta unit on the rear of that. Each side has a 32 mil gap. And it's very important to understand 32 mil gaps. But when you're installing multiple of these, it's very easy just to get the laser levels sorted and then measure 32, 32. So it's 64. Between the actual rails themselves and the wall, and that works really well once you've done all that. And then it's also important to just on the initial one to understand the midpoint of the suspension rail, which is at 568 mils. And the only other one that I'll bring up now is when you've got two of these suspension rails, one on top of the other, The gap between the very top of the suspension rail and the very top of the one on top, does that make sense? A lot of tops, is 640 mils. And I'll put a diagram that explains that. It's the red lines on the diagram. And there's also a diagram in terms of how it sits behind. So these things just slot in. There's brackets that you install on the back of the Besta units and they slot in. Now there are instructions in the Besta units from IKEA that you'll follow, but they don't really talk about the 32 mil gap. And when you install in multiple of these, very important to understand there's a 64 mil gap between them and a 640 gap upwards, right? And that's pretty much it. Once you've got that sorted, it's really just getting that first one sorted, understanding where the cabinet's going to sit. And it's probably best to measure 1.2 meters across and where you want it to sit, right? And wherever you mention 1.2, remember it's going to be 32 mils in from where you start positioning that bracket. Obviously, with the brackets that they attach to each other, and again, you probably don't need the midpoint too much, just in that initial one, just to get the frame right. Now, having said that, you do need a laser level for this job. I use a DeWalt one, which is awesome. I think you need a laser level, depending on how many you're doing, right? I was doing... This project's for another room, so it's a much larger room. Okay, guys, tools of the trade. So for this project, we need some drill bits. So I've got a 2.5 drill bit there and a 5.5 mil drill bit here as well to drill the holes for the ram set plasterboard hooks that you'll need. And these can just be, essentially it's best to pre-drill these holes and then stick them in with a light hammer and then just tap them in with a hammer and then away you go. Obviously, we need the cabinet screws with low profile head. I've got the 10G 50 mils and the 10G 40 mils when it's going straight into a stud. We've got some tape there just to essentially mark out any wall studs. The DeWalt laser level, you're going to need that one. I've got a stud finder. We've got some rulers and hammer and Phillips and flathead screwdrivers as well at laser level, and the handheld level as well. So these are the tools you'll need, and a drill bit. Definitely get the drill there as well. So I'm a DeWalt man. Okay, guys, so we put it in the floating Besta units. It's best to sort of create two of these initially, just for some of the measuring. We've got to get a laser level there, and the bracket, which is a pain in the ass. I'll talk about some of the measurements shortly, but this is the first one. It fits into there. So now we're going to do the other two on top and see how that goes. So the Besta cabinets are 1200 wide, and this thing here is 1136 wide. So we're going to add 32 on each side to essentially get the sort of the end point here, or the start point from the wall. So let's do on the top one. These aren't the easiest things to install, guys. But just take your time on the first one. Okay, guys, so we've now got 9 double brackets installed with 3 single brackets on the end there. You can't do this job without a laser level, so make sure you get one of those. The other key thing really is the space between these two here, which is not clear in the instructions and IKEA's instructions, is 32 mils each way. So 64 mil gap. So once you get the laser level done, you go to the top of that, you can easily just go, well, measure out 64 mils between here and there, place that, line it up with the laser level, get your markers in there and your holes. If you can find a stud, even better. I've just marked the studs on the walls there. Otherwise, you'll need to use some ram set anchors. Proof's in the pudding, so let's put up the, I have to fix the Besta shelves and stick them on, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything is aligned. Takes about, I don't know, 3-4 hours to do all this. But yeah, the main one to get right is this one, the first one. And then everything hopefully flows on from that. Stay tuned. Okay, back. So far, so good. Coming together. Forgot to mention earlier, the gap between the top of that to the top of that is 640, which is the size of one of those. So, all right, stay tuned. Okay, with the power of video editing, this was all done in about 10 seconds. So it's turned out surprisingly well, actually. I didn't think it would all fit together like it did, but it did come together in the end. Some words of advice: install left to right. What I did was install this one and then these two, and then to get this one in from the top was a nightmare. So left to right should work really well. So yeah, there's also a screw that combines these two cabinets here and here. So make sure you put those in. I'm going to put those in after the door. So next step's the doors, and then we're going to get some LEDs as well. So I'm going to have to drill through some of these cabinets, make little holes for the LEDs. Doors are in, guys. So that's it. 21 doors. These are the Glassvik from IKEA. I use the push button here. So it's push button there. Sorry to be dark, but there's a lot of reflection. The only other thing to note is there's a screw. Where is it? Up there. This screw here, it just sort of brings everything together around the cabinet. So one cabinet screws into the other. So you just do that. LED on top is just a cheapy Govee on Amazon. I think it was down to 30. I was going to get the outdoor Bunnings 5-meter light, which is a bit more brightness, which is sort of like this one in terms of brightness. But for now, this is fine. 30 bucks, no problem. Okay, guys, special delivery today from Amazon UK. This is the Govee M1 Lights. 5 meters, 60 LEDs per meter. So the LEDs are in. I've had to put 2 brackets here at the top. Just remember when you curve it, the curvature required there. And also when you run the strip, make sure you run it without the connector to the power, which needs to go out the back, which is over here. Now I've had to run the LED slightly down, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to cut it or not, but it's sort of hidden back here anyway. And there's the control unit. Blinds closed. So each unit, pretty much 2 squares combined are controllable via the LED, so you can customize the colors. So now I'm just going to repeat the process for the top and bottom. Yeah, so all I've done is drilled a hole there, and same hole over here, just at the top there. I'm trying to do it as close to the top without damaging the wood, so it's probably about 30 mil down on each. Now I need to dust the windows, but coming together. Okay, so they're in. I've made a few changes to the bottom shelves just for a bit more storage. So that's the benefit of having the IKEA Besta units, is that you can swap and change things as required. So I need a bit more storage in the bottom, so I've got drawers there. But these things look fantastic. And that's with the Govee lights. We've got Power Girl from Sideshow, Spider-Man, Scott Campbell, Wolverine, some Marvel Legends there, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Hot Toys, Joker, and Batman, Dark Knight Batman, with Bane, 1/6 scale Hot Toys original power loader with Big Chap, and then just some Star Wars stuff. That's a cool one. And there's Han and Luke and Iron Man, and let's not forget about Buzz. So I've done these half ones. So there's Sam from Tron, Hot Toys, and the kids have their own as well. And I put the 172 scale Bandai Star Wars there. So it's turned out really well, really happy with that. A bit of an effort, but it just looks great. So I'm not 100% on the collectibles that are in there at the moment, so I'm going to change those up, but great result in the end. That's it for this build. If you found this guide helpful, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more IKEA hacks, floating setups, and lighting projects, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.